These street huggers better wake up and
Successful
smell the
anonymous
coffee.
operation
Been around the block, man, I'm far from a beginner. I've been in react with Mac when I work for
Okay, so, but it is an anonymous operation. It's an anon. It's QAnon.
Cause I ain't like them. War, they ain't built for it.
Anyone can make a mistake that can lead them down the wrong direction. I've been trying to be a moderator here. You've been talking over me and my guest, Jake.
I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here.
Because guess what? I'm hanging up on your ass. You better go find some evidence that I'm Mossad, Jake, because you've just insulted me, and I think you're anti-Semitic and you've been a jerk on this phone call. Goodbye, Jake.
I only find it when I'm never looking for it. So I don't set the bomb, I start to get a premonition. Some kind of feeling that shouldn't be a part of the mission. But I do it, 10 minutes remain before reactor 1 is going down in flames. And so we out to the train to rest. Part 1 of the mission is a complete success. So for now it seems like the good guys are winning. But this ain't the ending, it's only the beginning. Got my money on the mind, no fear in my eyes. Avalanche is flying, so it's time to rise. I'm just going forward, no time for going back. What's the mission? Destroy the Mako reactors. They brought it on themselves, so we gotta take them out. All in, but we might not all make it out.
All of the video clips used in this film are being used under fair use for the purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody. And if any copyright strikes take this video down, it will be up on DTube and BitChute.
These anons are essentially doing is they're using their hacking skill to get valued information that they can then manipulate to bring in a new economy where drugs and guns and prostitution are all free market.
Welcome to Crowd Source the Spoof, and here we're going to be investigating the claims made by the YouTube channel Crowd Source the Truth, Jason Goodman and Michael Quinn. And as you've already heard, one of the dumbest statements ever said in the history of mankind by Michael Quinn there, which Jason Goodman just nodded his head and agreed to. Anonymous has absolutely nothing to do with everything that was just stated, and that statement about the Anonymous Collective is one of the most slanderous and dumb things that has ever been said about Anonymous on the internet. And that's not all they said. So we're going to go through this video that these two morons just published on their YouTube channel and still have not retracted despite me telling them how wrong they are in multiple different places. So let's go through it all, because not only is that the dumbest shit I've ever heard, the rest of their video is even worse. Just for starters, not only are they slandering Anonymous throughout this entire interview, they also are using the Anonymous symbols and logos on a for-profit video for themselves, where they constantly are talking about their fundraising and different ways that you can donate money to them. So they are using the Anonymous symbols for profiteering reasons, okay? That's one of the biggest violations out there.
Welcome everyone. Tonight we've got a great episode with one of my all-time favorite guests. Of course, everyone's favorite AI expert, Mr. Quinn Michaels, fully lunged. How are you, Quinn?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. You're looking well. It's always, each time I see you, additional improvements. I miss you, man.
Everyone's favorite joke is actually a better way to describe this Quinn guy. Quinn is one of the dumbest people I've ever heard on the internet, and one of his recent claims is that the deep state used a directed energy weapon to zap his lung and hospitalize him, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my friggin' life, okay? They have absolutely no proof of this whatsoever, and on the screen here is what an actual directed energy weapon looks like. Okay, so this is what a real directed energy weapon looks like. They do exist. There are targeted individuals by directed energy weapons. Michael Quinn is just not one of them, and he has no proof that he is. None whatsoever. As proven by this video here posted by Hoax Wars, and I'll play a short clip of it for you.
So this is fairly normal. You see no signs of any sort of outside interference that could have led to this happening?
I don't see any signs.
You know, Quinn and I are involved in some research that some very powerful people aren't fond of. He may have been targeted by some kind of energy weapon. I know that sounds fantastic and possibly ridiculous.
Unless you're talking about Star Trek type things, I'm not aware of anything.
Yes, it does sound fantastic and completely ridiculous. Just like 90% of the stuff that's claimed on this guy's channel. Jason Goodman should have never left Hollywood. He should have just stayed in Hollywood because this guy is an epic fail at this attempt at independent journalism. And I don't care how many subscribers, he is given basically because people on the internet are easily tricked. I can point you to countless epic fails at independent journalism that have way more subscribers than me. And I have pointed out some of these people in the past. So subscriber numbers don't make you a success. Let me just point that out first. And I'm definitely not jealous of someone that is this pathetic and bad at being a journalist. I've been making fun of this guy for months with other people, just laughing at how bad he is. And I, like a bunch of other people, I don't think Goodman is COINTELPRO or some secret agent or secretly Mossad. No, I just think he sucks at this. He sucks at what he's trying to do, which is this crowdsource the truth thing. He just sucks at it. He's a liar, and he sucks, and he's pathetic, okay? And this attempt to defame Anonymous that they've done has brought me against them. You don't speak against Anonymous and say the things that we'll get into later in this video that they said and not have a bunch of backlash, which they rightfully deserve. And they've been failing at this for a while, and I've just been ignoring them. But they went out and attacked Anonymous, which I won't stand by and watch because I have the utmost respect for the Anonymous collective, even if I'm not a member of it. And I fully believe in the idea that is Anonymous. See, Anonymous isn't really a group of people, it's an idea. And these people are attacking that idea with slanderous statements. So that's why I'm making this video.
The Las Vegas Metro PD probably has a all-points bulletin out for myself and Miss Loomer, so I'm being a little careful with what I do relative to Vegas.
So the first thing here is he has just established the fact that him and Laura Loomer, who I'll get into later, are associates, close associates. And secondly, I'd just like to point out the obvious, which is the Las Vegas police does not have an all-points bulletin out for this moron, which is easily verifiable. So this is just him propping up the myth of Jason Goodman like he's some, Columbo or something. I don't even know, what this guy thinks. Jason, you are just pathetic. No one takes you seriously. There's no Las Vegas police all-points bulletin out for you.
I want to remind everyone before we dig into what we're going to be talking about today, Quinn, because we've added a lot of subscribers. CrowdSource the Truth is rocketing towards 50,000 subscribers.
So congratulations, Jason Goodman. You have successfully tricked 50,000 people into believing your crap. And I'll just read this. I suppose many people will continue moving towards careless computing because there's a sucker born every minute. Richard Stallman. And I don't know if P.T. Barnum ever said that, but potentially he was the originator of that "there's a sucker born every minute" quote. However, when you look at some of these people who have built up huge followings on YouTube, it seems like the every minute part of that quote might have been an underestimation. It seems like there's a sucker born every second in the YouTube universe that follows these types of people like Jason Goodman and CrowdSource the Goof.
And a lot of people might not know you yet. They can follow your work on Twitter, of course, at Quinn Michaels, and on YouTube, where unfortunately both you and I are sort of in YouTube jail for the next little while, unable to live stream. So our live audience is watching us right now on Periscope, on Facebook Live, on the RussianVK.com social media network. Privyet, Moscow, Как дела? And people can follow Quinn on YouTube. He's putting out videos about Tyler, about AI. He's connecting dots, and he's helping us all understand a little bit better exactly what's going on.
So I left that little clip in there just so that everyone would know where to find this broadcast that they put up that I am breaking down now. Because when I brought this broadcast forward to the Anonymous Collective, and a bunch of different DM groups I'm in, and on a couple different IRC boards, and a couple other places that I interact with the Anonymous Collective, most of the people there told me that they thought that this was slander and worthy of being flagged, and that they were going to go and flag it and get it removed. So it looks like you're going to be getting another strike there, Crowd Source the Truth, and it's not going to be from the mythical powers that shouldn't be that you believe are against you, even though you're the biggest goof on YouTube. It's going to come from a whole bunch of real people that are guilty of you slandering them. So the Anonymous Collective is going to be reporting your video to YouTube for review, and I'm not going to stop them from doing it because you brought this shit on yourself, okay? And I'm not slandering you. I'm taking your words, which is why I took your videos, and I'm breaking it down. So you can't claim I'm not representing you accurately. I'm using your own words to tear you apart.
Dr. Corsi has a ton of intelligence contacts as well, and I believe I heard one of his streams, he said he feels he's now acquired enough information, and although he wouldn't do this, that he feels he could actually identify who QAnon is.
Well, Jerome Corsi's a fucking idiot, and he works for InfoWars, which makes him highly, highly suspect right from the beginning, because InfoWars is actually COINTELPRO disinformation garbage. It's Jonestown Nutville. And as for, oh, Corsi's gonna dox QAnon. Oh, Dr. Corsi. Dr. Corsi. Yeah, I already fucking did that shit. DeFango told everyone it was this guy on the screen here, Monty McGovern, who was a Q clearance math professor who was posting as QAnon with Cicada up until November 23rd, and then stopped posting. And the Bakers and the CBTS crew and Tracy Beans took it over and turned it into a giant LARP for views and fame. I've already covered all this. It's been proven, done. If you did any actual research over at Crowd Source the Spoof, you would know this already. But because your head's, you watch DeFango's videos all the time. You pay more attention to DeFango than I do, and I picked up on this from watching his videos. How did you not get it, Goodman? You goddamn moron. Okay? How did you not get it? So that's all I have to say about that. Let's continue on with the ridiculous nonsense from Crowd Source the Spoof.
Caught them doing, they do this exact same path where they distribute something out of 4chan and then they find a public face to put their technology behind. Then they start having their technology tweet about them and include the name in the tweets, and before you know it, their YouTube channel has another 50,000 subscribers.
So I would like to point out first that this map that they're referencing on the screen behind them during this part, one of the key things it leads to is Draco reptilians. Wow, you guys have really found the truth. You've found the deep end of the rabbit hole. And then they go on to complain about someone else having 50,000 subscribers when they just congratulated themselves for hitting 50,000 subscribers. They're butthurt about people who talk against them, even though they're the dumbest people in the YouTube truth community, is just unbelievable. Jason Goodman's like one of the most butthurt people on the face of the planet.
I don't know if you caught this last night, Quinn, but in good faith, I tried to put together I didn't even want to categorize it as a debate because that inherently has a one versus the other connotation. I wanted to have a Vegas investigation summit where I felt I was bringing together two of the best Vegas investigators, and I got a little blindsided when one of my guests revealed to me for the first time that he intended to use references to evidence rather than presenting me with the actual evidence, and all he wanted to do was discredit the other guests. Now,
so basically what happened in that interview between Morphonius and that shill Hoover was Jake Morphonius went in there to expose Hoover, and Goodman, as always, tried to set up like some drama or whatever on his channel for views and fame, because that's what Goodman's in this game for. And then when Morphonius completely demolished those two on air, live, Goodman called him an anti-Semite, which is the typical thing that Zionist shills do to anyone that criticizes anyone that's Jewish. They go, oh, you're an anti-Semite. It's just the same typical thing they always do. You know, all these things on the screen are anti-Semitic, of course. You know, if you criticize Israel or Zionist policies or anything like that, all of a sudden they turn around and go, oh, well, you must be an anti-Semite. No, the criticism of you was valid by Jake Morphonius. 100% valid. He never brought up anything about how you're Jewish. He never once mentioned anything about your religion or your ethnicity at all. He merely said that people claim that you might be connected to Mossad, which is a political criticism. It has nothing to do with your ethnicity, Jason Goodman. Okay? You're like the same thing as the people that used to sit there and go, oh, well, anyone who criticizes Obama must be a racist. It's the same shit. Same thing. People criticized Obama because he sucked as a president, not because he was African American. Okay? And the same thing's happening here. Goodman's like, well, anyone that criticizes me is an anti-Semite. That's the typical response.
You know, and you know, a lot of what you and I go through is very different than what a lot of the people in the same field on the internet go through in publishing our research.
yeah.
You know, we've watched other people in the same field literally skyrocket into stardom. Meanwhile, we're dealing with, you know, the arenas that we deal with. Like I deal with constantly being hacked.
See, the one thing these people always lack is this thing called proof. He makes this crazy claim that he's constantly being hacked and that their channel is being manipulated down, despite the fact that they just broke 50,000 subscribers and been growing much faster than anyone else that's actually talking about real truths in the truth community. There's like a whole group of these independent journalists that have just been blowing up lately while the rest of us have been basically frozen. And I actually have this thing called proof. When I go live, YouTube doesn't even tell people I'm live, okay? And they reset the timer and stuff like that. And I have screenshots proving this, that even after I was live, that they reset the timer to 5 minutes till I go live. So no one even knew I was live, okay? This is the type of thing that YouTube does, and I can prove that it does to actual people like me that are putting out legitimate information, whereas Crowd Source the Spoof is constantly putting out disinfo, whether knowingly or unknowingly. They still do it all the time, and I think they do it purposely for profiteering gains, and it's just unbelievable. They never have any proof of any of this stuff, all these guys that are constantly claiming this. Yet people like me show the proof and no one cares.
That I know that the Tyler Advanced Intelligence platform or system, I know how it exists inside every computer or computing device that was ever made.
Right.
And it was there by the NSA, and I'm trying to...
More ridiculous claims by Quinn that he'll never provide any evidence for other than his word that he's done the research, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you want to know one way the NSA actually has put a backdoor into basically a ton of different cryptographic things, it would be the dual elliptic curve deterministic random bit generator, which potentially the NSA has a key for, but no one's sure if they do or not. I mean, it's likely they do, and the government helped push it through the standards office, even though this random bit generator has a potential key if you knew what the key was to it. And the NSA could potentially have this or not. So there's that, deniability that they have built into this. But that's one way that they actually most likely have a backdoor into everything. There it is right on the screen, the proof. You can go look up the history of the dual elliptic curve deterministic random bit generator for yourself, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. There's been lots of research done on this, and I can back it all up. And it's not just my word for it. There's plenty of other research on this, and that's the difference between real journalists like myself and Quinn and Goodman, who are just jokes with a YouTube channel.
Human beings don't share anything unless there's someone in a position of authority already sharing it.
Let's hear more from the philosophies of Michael Quinn.
Human beings won't comment on blog posts or YouTube videos.
I don't know if this guy's been reading too many Russian bot stories in the news or something, but actually, yes, human beings do watch stuff by people that are not a position of authority. I'm no position of authority, and people watch my stuff, and human beings do comment and share and like stuff. I don't know what the hell this guy is talking about. I mean, Quinn, maybe you want to stop making YouTube videos and go get yourself checked out. Like, seriously, I think you need some serious help, dude. You've lost your mind.
Where there's a guy standing in a field dancing by himself all erratically, and everybody's making fun of the guy until one other person goes and starts dancing, and then shortly after, everybody starts and goes dancing.
At least now I know what Quinn does at his day job. Don't worry, Quinn. Someone will start dancing with you soon enough.
It's hard to imagine more impact. QAnon is definitely a phenomenon unlike anything we've seen, at least in the alternate, news.
It's the most successful anonymous operation ever.
Yeah.
Wait. What the fuck did he just say?
It's the most successful anonymous operation ever.
Yeah.
Obviously, Quinn has no goddamn idea how anonymous works. You don't just get to claim something is an anonymous operation and then have it be so. That anyone can claim to be anonymous, but not everyone that claims to be anonymous is supported by the idea that is anonymous, which is how you fed out these personal army requests from reality, okay? So, I already exposed Operation Thump, which was the Humanity Party. And here's the thing. Anonymous does not get behind any politicians or any political party. And QAnon is all about being pro-Trump. No one could possibly argue that. It's all about white hats being behind the Trump thing and Trump being at war with the deep state. That's what the QAnon thing is about. And right there, you should know that it has nothing to do with Anonymous, because Anonymous doesn't support any political parties or political candidates or politicians. Individual Anonymous members do, but the collective itself does not. Furthermore, all of the chatter that I've seen about QAnon amongst the Anonymous collective that I'm, connected to, all of it has been saying QAnon is a Zionist disinformation op. So I don't know what proof Michael Quinn or whoever this loser is has that QAnon has some relation to Anonymous when it doesn't, despite his continuous claims, but it doesn't. And there's plenty of proof of that. Tons of Anons saying that QAnon has nothing to do with us. And it should be obvious, because what is QAnon? It is a person. It's a leader. And what does Anonymous not have? A leader, a person. There is no cult of Q amongst Anonymous. It doesn't exist. And anyone telling you otherwise has no idea what the Anonymous idea is, what it stands for, or what it means.
I agree with that.
Okay, but it is an anonymous operation. It's an anon-op. It's QAnon.
No, and I hate to use the same meme over again, but The level of dumb here just cannot be matched. Anonymous has nothing to do with QAnon. Nothing.
QAnonymous. Okay, and people forget that in this whole part of the Q thing is that this whole QAnon is an anonymous operation that launched from 4chan.
Right.
I have documents about Tyler from 2012 that are direct instructions on how to launch an operation from 4chan and use Reddit and YouTube and Twitter to then infuse that operation into the society, and it's following the exact same path that QAnon follows.
Got it.
So if I have a document that was written in 2012 that says this is how you run Tyler operations, and then I find something in 2018 that's being run exactly like a Tyler operation, well, a duck is a duck, right?
Right.
Thank you for once again proving my point that Quinn has absolutely no goddamn idea how an anonymous operation is started, how it works, or how it goes. Why? He's never participated in one, and he'll admit to that later, and he continually makes false statements about how they're conducted, how they're started, and how they're run, because everything he just said there is false. Everything.
And what do you suppose the intended purpose is?
The intended purpose is to reshape reality into the vision of the people that are running the darknet.
What the fuck did this guy just say about the Anonymous Collective? What is our intention again? Can you please define that for me, Quinn?
What do you mean?
A free market society.
That doesn't sound bad.
Well, you want kids buying drugs and guns and fake IDs and illegal PayPal accounts and fake credit cards?
Yeah, no, that sounds bad.
Because I'll tell you what, I traced the White Rabbit to some darknet sites, and the only things that I found were places where you could buy a new identity, drugs, and guns, and get out of the country. I didn't find anything in their darknet sites about the corrupt government papers they were revealing. So that's the part for me of why I don't like what they're using Tyler for, because when you follow these anonymous people and you download Tor and you get into the darknet and you start opening onion sites, you get into the drug markets, you get into the gun markets, you get into the illegal wares markets. And so
there's a few things here I'm going to refute. The first is the fact that he states he tracked one hacker to the darknet, and therefore Anonymous is somehow associated with drugs, guns, and prostitution, and we want that to be free market, because this guy supposedly tracked one hacker to darknet sites. So the obvious gaps in logical, reasonable thinking here are huge, because he's just completely slandered an entire group of people based on his findings that he's never shown, by the way, regarding an individual I don't know. And secondly, he claims to have traced a hacker I've heard of before named White Rabbit. Now, I'm not familiar with White Rabbit. I don't know the guy. I just followed him on Twitter because he responded to me going after Goodman today. So that's my only contact with White Rabbit. Now, I've seen a lot of these guys' videos and stuff. I've never seen Quinn ever show any proof that he has tracked the White Rabbit to any darknet sites or any of the things he just claimed. And then to go ahead and say that because he tracked one hacker there, that all of Anonymous is about that? That's a huge logical fallacy. That's guilt by association to a huge degree. And there's not even any association to be had there, because once again, Quinn has no proof that he tracked anyone anywhere. And based on the stuff Quinn says in this video, I question if Quinn has any idea what he's doing on a computer at all. I think I might have more computer skills than this guy.
These Anons are essentially doing is they're using their hacking skill to get valued information that they can then manipulate to bring in a new economy where drugs and guns and prostitution are all free market.
So does that sound like anonymous to anyone out there? Does anyone else find that's what you find when you participate or support anonymous and anonymous operations? Nope, I've never found anything like that. I've been participating with anonymous operations and helping raise awareness for them since 2012. Not once has any member of Anonymous ever led me to a darknet site where you can buy drugs, guns, and prostitutes and see child porn. So I don't know what Quinn is doing on his spare time on the darknet, but it sounds to me like he's spending an awful lot of time looking at illegal stuff on the darknet. Maybe, just maybe, since he's admitting to all this online, someone should take a little look at his computer from the authorities, since he's admitting in this video, and he'll do it multiple times, to looking at child porn on the darknet. Just saying. And since he's slandering everyone in Anonymous for no reason whatsoever, since we have nothing to do with any of the things he's claiming, I mean, just look at this response on the screen by a member of Anonymous Hive, which actually go out there and do real work and look down and track down these pedophiles and other people posting content on stuff like Twitter that is illegal, and we report, take down their websites, and these people do real work. The anonymous people are good people who do real work and don't go on YouTube looking for fame and slandering an entire group of people just because they want donations to their PayPal. Quinn and Goodman are pathetic. They owe the entire collective Anonymous an apology, and they should retract this video before the Anonymous collective hits them with a guideline strike for slander.
But first, to do that, they have to make the existing structure invalid. So that's why they have all these anonymous people out on the internet bashing the government and getting in the way of federal investigations and you know, saying shit looks worse than it really is and making everything look like it's the end of the world. Because behind all of this anonymous stuff is a big giant drug and gun and illegal credit card and buying stolen PayPal accounts and assuming new identities, because that's where you go after you find the anonymous people that say download Tor and become anonymous. You go to the hidden wiki inside the darknet that then tells you how to buy all these guns and stuff.
So let me just ask you straight up, people. How many people that have helped or participated with Anonymous, said they're anonymous, watched anonymous videos, have then been led to the darknet in drugs, guns, and prostitution? Probably not that many, since I've never heard of it happening once, since Anonymous is actually standing up against all of those things, and basically the only people on the internet trying to fight back against all of that sleazy corruption on the darknet. So, from my experience, everything that Michael Quinn just said there is slanderous, wrong, and unprovable in any way, shape, or form, which is why it's just this asshole sitting here spewing this shit online about a group of people that are way more heroic than he could ever possibly be in his imaginations. Okay? Michael Quinn is pathetic. Just absolutely pathetic. And Goodman, fuck you for giving this guy a platform to spew this bullshit. You fucking tool.
It doesn't tell you anything about the corrupt government. It doesn't say, here's your information on the corrupt government, here's who the players are, here's what you need to know. It doesn't do that. You get into the darknet, it immediately sells you drugs, sells you guns, and sells you illegal pornography in the form of, you know, which we're all afraid of. Like, I found listings for pizza delivery, if you get my drift.
So maybe not a lot of you have even been to the dark web, but I have. I've been there. I've seen some of the, you know, Silk Road type websites, and yeah, there's a lot of drugs on there you can buy, there's a lot of guns on there you can buy. You know what I've never seen on any of the publicly viewable dark web things? Is any child porn or people for sale or trafficking or any of that. Never, not once. There's just me being personally honest. But that's because I don't get into the sites that shit would be selling on there. So what that tells me is that Quinn is not just going and looking what you can publicly get into on the dark web. He's going really deep in, getting into invite-only boards where this stuff is possibly being posted, which means he's going way, way out of his way to find this stuff. Just letting you know that, and he's admitting to it, which means he probably has the stuff saved on his computer. Just pointing it out.
Like when you get into this anonymous stuff and you get into the Tor sites and you get into the Onion sites, it's not good, man.
So once again, he's slandering Anonymous here and saying basically that you shouldn't get involved with Anonymous because it's not good, man. It's all about all that bad stuff. You know what you shouldn't get involved with? Is jokers on YouTube like Goodman and Quinn.
It is part of my research, and this is why I don't get involved in Anonymous. With my skills and my ability to program and my ability to make graphics, I could very easily make a whole field of Anonymous videos that would have shifted reality in about a month. But
I don't know if you knew this, but Quinn is actually a Jedi meme master, and he's so good at it, he could shift the entire reality of the universe. We could just wake up tomorrow on a flat Earth because Michael Quinn made a couple of Anonymous videos and did some meme work. What an absolute loser. I can't believe you actually just said that. Like, yeah, this loser on the screen, Michael Quinn, is so much better at making memes and videos than all the people in Anonymous that he didn't join because he would have shifted reality, where the rest of us that have been trying to wake people up all this time, I guess we're just not as good as Quinn.
so the darknet is where all this stuff exists, but then there's these anonymous operations that are making everyone in the public look bad. Meanwhile, the anonymous darknet, you can go wash your bitcoins for a low fee when you buy an illegal PayPal account that you're using to purchase guns and drugs and illegal pornography.
Once again, all of these claims are completely invalid. All Anonymous is about exposing the government, from what I've seen, and it's all about just people not being fame whores and exposing the government. That's what it's about. It's about them hiding their identity when they went after Scientology, because they had to, because Scientology would go after those people if they didn't hide their identity. That's what Anonymous is about. It has nothing to do with any of this other stuff that you're claiming, Quinn. And you absolutely need to take this video down and do a massive apology, because you're just dead wrong. All of what you're saying is wrong.
We're beyond Silk Road. We're so far beyond Silk Road. There's so many Silk Roads out there that are run on Anonymous, and
and I quote, "There are so many Silk Roads run on Anonymous." End quote. Michael Quinn, you are a fucking moron. That statement doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form. What is being run on Anonymous exactly?
And every time I track down these anonymous hackers, I always find one that says, hey, I'm developing Tor services for the backbone of the darknet. So you know where all the dirty shit is at is on the darknet, and it's the anonymous hackers that build the darknet, but it's the anonymous hackers everyone's like, yeah, they're tearing down the deep state. Where does the child porn live? It lives on the darknet. Who builds that? Anonymous hackers. See,
actually, the anonymous people basically get no credit for all the hard work they do to actually take down the corrupt government, to expose pedophiles, to fight back against Israel and Mossad, and the CIA and the NSA, and all the other corrupt intelligence agencies. It's Anonymous that is doing this work. These great people that just take the time out of their day to go and fight back against this. And then you have these idiots like Quinn and Goodman allowing him to just sit there and slander the collective and not offering any counter argument against it, or putting this guy in his place, or cutting him off for posting slander about an entire group of people for which he cannot back up at all. They have no proof of any of this. None. And you can see what he did here again. Every time I find a group of these anonymous people, I track one of them back to the dark web. Therefore, all of Anonymous is part of the dark web, gun-running, child porn conspiracy. I'm Michael Quinn. Come give me my Patreon donations and subscribe to my channel and watch me on Crowd Source the Spoof with Jason Goodman. I mean, seriously, like, and then they get mad when people use guilt by association, looking at their connections and things.
Pushing. I mean, even last night on this program, we heard Jake Morphonios refer to the number of people who have accused me of being Mossad. Now, there is some number of people who have done that. Not a single one of them, including Jake Morphonios, has presented any evidence to support that theory. But
actually, Jason Goodman, what he did is exactly what you did. Because you have strange connections to people like Arnon Michelon, people have labeled you, and because you're associated with George Webb, who claims himself to be old guard Mossad, because of those connections through guilt by association, which I just proved that you do on your own channel to other people, through guilt by association, they have declared that you might be connected to Mossad. And here's where I differentiate from some of the people that claim you are Mossad, Jason Goodman. I don't think you are. I don't even know if you have any financial connections to Israel and Mossad. I don't care. And if they are paying you, they deserve a refund because you suck at your job. You suck as a journalist. Your channel sucks. Michael Quinn, your guest, sucks. Pretty much everything you've done has sucked. Okay? You're just terrible at this. I don't care who's paying you or what. I really don't. You're just pathetic, and you deserve to be called out. If you're going to go out and slander a whole bunch of people that are actually doing real work, like the Anonymous Collective, while you're sitting there making crap YouTube videos, interviewing people that can't pull their head out of their own ass like Quinn, you don't deserve to be considered like an intelligence operative. You're not. You're just a LARPer on the internet who's trying to make money because you probably sucked at your job in Hollywood, so now you're looking for a new way to make income. But, you know what, we'll get into how you, specifically you and George, sat there and tried to label someone else Mossad through guilt by association, and then I'm going to go over the evidence that people have presented that prove that you might actually have connections to Arnon Michelon and other pedophiles like Brian Singer. Okay? So we're going to do that, since you want the evidence. But first we're going to start off with a short clip from Hoax Wars, which just proves that you and George do this exact guilt by association thing that you're claiming is not proof enough of your own guilt by association to people like Arnon Michelon and Brian Singer.
Israeli intelligence has played a vital part in the Jewish homeland's struggle for national survival. Its national intelligence services, loosely known as the Mossad, combined intellectual leadership with a ruthlessness that has impressed both friends and enemies.
tell us a little bit about some of the new stuff that you've learned.
Well, the whole BlackBerry, just following the BlackBerries in this story has led to not only Huma sending emails to Anthony Weiner,
Right.
but today I walked down Park Avenue near your old apartment on 254 Park Avenue where Anthony Weiner and Huma Abedin used to live as well.
Right.
And I walked a very short distance to the PR firm that he used to work at, which was MWW.
Uh-huh.
Now, I never knew what MWW actually stood for, other than Mossad Worldwide.
Right.
It was just a joke.
But you're joking. However, we do have an image of a very young Anthony Weiner with Ehud Barak.
Yes.
And
yes.
what's the significance of that?
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody, we're two Jewish guys. It's okay to say that he's Mossad.
But do we have any evidence other than a photograph of him with Ehud Barak?
Well, no.
And if you don't know, now you know, nigga.
So let's see if we can find any guilt by association for Jason Goodman, since he'll take a picture of someone standing with someone else and say that's proof. So let's see if we can find any more proof than what he found for his connections to the Zionist operations and Mossad and pedophiles. Okay, well, this article written by Defango, who just so happens to be Jason Goodman's favorite researcher, and was actually, at one point, if I remember correctly, a member of Crowd Source the Truth. At least for one video, anyways. And that'll be funny to people who know what I'm talking about. Regardless, I shall get into this Steemit article, which is on the blockchain. So let's see if there's any proof that Jason Goodman might be connected to pedophiles and Israel. So this reads, CIA source, Deep Throat confirmed by @FrankBacon. And it says, and this is speculation, but it says, Jason Goodman is on the payroll of a man named Arnon Milchan. Arnon is Jason doing work partly out of blackmail. Jason was at parties with a producer named Bryan Singer, which is confirmable because he worked with Bryan Singer on movies like X-Men, and there were underage boys and girls. Jason was being paid $2.788 a week, which I believe is $2,788 a week, and is now up to $3,500 a week. Laura Loomer is making $7,000 a week from Milchan. And remember before I said we had to already established Laura and Jason are connected, as Jason said it himself. So I'll say this right now. If Jason wants to disprove us, then show us your tax return for the last year and prove that you're not getting $3,500 a week from Arnon Milchan. Black Cube, which I've covered in the past, it's a Weinstein-connected intelligence firm that has all types of connections to Israeli Mossad. I've covered Black Cube before on my channel. Fed them info. Jason found out that Milchan is paying Loomer twice as much as him, and that's why they had this fight. Please do not tell anyone how you got this info. Goodman's job is to deflect attention from Rahm Emanuel, Chuck Schumer, and DWS. Rahm secretly paid Pakistani prosecutors $3 million in hush money in March 2009 to make a ton of fraud charges go away. The money came from Israel. The Awans have been spying for Israel since 2007-2008 with Schumer as the kingpin. Now Milchan works with a guy named Avi Hirsch. I know you and T and others know some of this stuff, but now you know the full story. Also, Alan Dershowitz has over 7 hours of Orgy Island vid hidden in his vid file is called Insurance. The same name as Schumer's boy Anthony Weiner. Avi is deeply involved in pedophilia in Hollywood, and the purpose of these parties was to bring in kids for quote-unquote fun and games. You'll want to explore the below video. At 7:53, there's Goodman's 13th birthday party and Avi procuring a 13-year-old Chinese girl. There's a growing consensus that you are a Mossad helper who is creating a rabbit hole with admitted Mossad helper George Webb, and the purpose of the rabbit hole is to distract people away from the fact that Russia did not influence the election, but Israel did. Just as I have been saying on my channel for quite some time, it should not be called Russiagate, it should be called Israelgate, because all the mainstream media was ever able to prove was the fact that the Donald Trump administration had spoken on behalf of Israel to Russia. So it should have been Israelgate, except the left is controlled by the Zionists in Israel as well, and the Jesuits who are above the Zionists, as I've always said, but it's all the New World Order structure. So that's what's going on here. That's why the media can't touch Israelgate, even though they have the evidence there. So all of what I just read to you there was speculation. So now let's go into the guilt by association that we can do looking into Jason Goodman. So Jason worked for over 20 years as a camera guy in Hollywood. So let's start looking into his friends and affiliates. First off, Arnon Milchan. There's a backer at about $3,500 a month for Crowd Source the Truth. Mossad Pass seems to be a good source for some of the interesting information Jason gets from time to time and looks down the barrel at George's breadcrumbs. Okay? So here's a Times of Israel article about Hollywood producer Arnon Milchan and him revealing the fact he's connected to Mossad. Jason worked on the movie X-Men, the super hit created by Bryan Singer, who was mentioned in the documentary The Open Secret, by the way, who was later convicted of child pedophilia after he repeatedly took advantage of teens. Singer had been accused numerous times of being a pedophile. He is openly bisexual. He called you a criminal. How will you like being forensically linked to the DNC and also convicted pedophile Bryan Singer? So, here you go. There's Jason working with Bryan Singer, a known pedophile on X-Men. So, I don't know, Jason. Things aren't looking too good for you here, just based on basic, guilt by association research, which is all you seem to do anyways. Avi is Avi Nesher. He's an unmarried guy connected to being a pedophile, who also happens to be Mossad, and has close connections to New Regency. As far as Avi, he is known as Herschel Levy. I would not reveal his last name because he could come after you legally. And there's Avi Nesher. He also uses an alias called Patrick. And here you go. Jason is connected to pedophile Bryan Singer. They work closely together. Bryan was also obsessed about 13-year-old children being used for sex. And lastly, I've also learned Jason is close with someone named Todd Solondz, and they're both grads of Tisch NYU Film School. Jason was also in the Sony leaks. And here's the links to the wikileaks.sonyleaks. So, there you go. This is the guy going around slandering Anonymous and, misleading people. And just like Jake Morphonius said, they always put people into these movements that go and then push completely unprovable, easily debunkable information, which then causes a bunch of division in these movements, and then everyone starts infighting and stuff, which is what the intel agencies want, which is why they put these, shills into these things. And once again, I am not stating that Jason Goodman is Mossad or is in any way connected with any intelligence agency at all, because I don't think he is smart enough, good enough at what he does, or any of that to be an operative of any way, shape, or form. Okay? I think the guy sucks at what he does, and he should just stop making videos.
To the extent that, now that we have 50,000 people following CrowdSource the Truth, it would seem to me that if someone goes and types in Jason Goodman into Google and starts searching me, they're going to get some of this bad information, and a certain number of people will read that and believe it.
Universal truth is not measured by mass appeal, and people that are able to build up large cult-like followings doesn't always necessarily mean it's because they're telling people the truth. Sometimes people just build up large cult-like followings because people are easily tricked. Just look at Jim Jones, which was a CIA operation, okay? And the reason I'm making this video is because Goodman has almost 50,000 subscribers, and he's defaming Anonymous and misleading people and spreading bad information that's going to hurt the entire truth community if anyone actually believed his bullshit. Okay? So that's why I'm taking him down, because we can't have these cult leaders that don't look at the information and spread lies that hurt people.
That's what I'm saying, and your perspective is you have that one person that's Dave Acton, you have that other one person that's Defango. This is just the crew that is assigned to you.
Yeah.
Okay,
You've
so
got a
there's
more
than,
sophisticated crew going after you in different ways.
I have about a dozen crews that are on me right now.
Wow. Wow.
So I'm at a point where I unplug my computer at night when I go to sleep.
I'm just going to end this with this. If you thought you had a lot of enemies before, you've just made a lot more. And if you thought unplugging your computer at night when you went to sleep is protecting all of your accounts and all of your things, you're wrong. And it just further leads me to question what the hell Michael Quinn knows about computers that makes him any sort of expert at all on any of this stuff. Because from what I've seen of him, is he's a complete effing moron that has no idea what he's talking about. So I'm going to wish Jason Goodman and Michael Quinn a very good luck on keeping their stuff secure and keeping their videos that are slandering the Anonymous Collective up on YouTube. Good luck with that, guys. Peace out. I won't have anything to do with the backlash other than this video and showing people the nonsense that you two have spread. So I can't be held accountable for any of the actions that the Anonymous Collective takes on its own, which I have nothing to do with. So I'll leave it at this. If Jason Goodman or Michael Quinn want to debate me on any of the information I've presented in this film, I will leave that more than open for them. I will debate them live anytime on any of the information I've presented in this film or any of the other films I've made. So feel free to challenge me on a debate on this information, Goodman or Quinn. And if you send your little team of cult member trolls over here, I'm not going to care, okay? You can thumb down this video as much as you want. You can send all the trolls to the comment sections you want. It's not going to change the fact that you two are fucking idiots. Alright, peace everyone. God bless all you out there who normally follow me for actually important information. And I'll get back to my investigations of actual intelligence agencies and real COINTELPRO agents, not just two morons on the internet slandering the Anonymous Collective. Peace, everyone. Support Anonymous. The Anonymous Collective people are heroes to me. And take care, everybody. Have a nice day. Oh, and lastly, just before I forget, if you have any information on who spoofed the Seth Rich files, we are investigating that on hashtag CrowdSource the Spoof on Discord, on the Titus Frost Discord server. So if you want to help us investigate this tragedy of who spoofed the Seth Rich files, then please join us on Discord in the Titus Frost server under CrowdSource the Spoof. And I bring you this from Hoax Wars, and I bid you adieu.
We're dealing with highly sophisticated individuals that intend to start and continue a concentrated propaganda campaign that is based on pure nonsense that will eventually, or could eventually, transform into a real campaign to discredit and possibly jail George, myself, Trish, our affiliates. I'm rude beyond words. Well, fuck you. How's that for rude? George has spoken about modus operandi. George has spoken about the PP dossier, a false document created by possibly, we don't know. I won't speculate. George has spoken about the PP modus operandi.
I'm sorry to say this, George. You have a drinking problem.
Pattern recognition.
Today someone sent a tweet that our friend and intrepid investigative journalist George Webb is going to be engaging in an intervention of all ironic things.
I'm rude beyond words. Well, fuck you. How's that for rude?
You have a drinking problem.
Engaging in an intervention of all ironic things.
Stop complaining and saying that your file is the same as my file.
Yeah, that's who that was. So, DeFango, lose my number.
Who is looking at it? They want to know who's looking at the Seth Rich files.
Don't call me. Get Kim to call me.
I want to know who is spoofing!
Who is spoofing? Who is spoofing the PP dossier?
Methinks the lady doth protest too much, DeFango. Who is spoofing Seth Rich files?
Get Kim to call me on Skype and tell me who is spoofing the Seth Rich file!
Who is spoofing, DeFango? Methinks the lady doth protest too much, DeFango.
Who is spoofing the Seth Rich file?
Seth Rich file!
I think we're gonna a Jew dick joke. There's some people who just can't resist the idiotic comments. But that's fine. Listen, everyone, have a lovely night, and we will see you soon. I'm rude beyond words. Well, fuck you. How's that for rude? Here's the thing, guys.
There's no time for softies. These street huggers
The most successful anonymous operation ever. Okay, so, but it is an anonymous operation. It's an anon. It's QAnon.
Anyone can make a mistake that can lead them down the wrong direction. I've been trying to be a moderator here. You've been talking over me and my guest. Jake,
I'm not
You know
going to
what?
sit here. I'm
You're
not going to sit here.
Because guess what?
when
I'm hanging up on your ass. You better go find some evidence that I'm Mossad, Jake, because you've just insulted me, and I think you're anti-Semitic and you've been a jerk on this phone call. Goodbye, Jake.
I only find it when I'm never looking for it. So right I set the bomb, I start to get a premonition. Some kind of feeling that shouldn't be a part of the mission. But I do it, 10 minutes remain before reactor 1 is going down in flames. And so we out to the train to rest. Part 1 of the mission is a complete success. So for now it seems like the good guys are winning. But this ain't the ending, it's only the beginning. Got money on the mind, no fear in my eyes. Avalanche is wide, so it's time to rise. I'm just going forward, no time for going back. What's the mission?